Jason, I like to say that Florida is the epicenter of all things crazy. In this instance, and I do want to get to the governor's race, but I do want to start with immigration. I also said that DeSantis told Donald Trump, hold my beer, when Trump thought that he had draconian immigration policies. What is going on? Not only is it tens of millions of dollars that are being spent by DeSantis in pursuit of these immigration policies, but when I hear required and mandatory death penalty, which violates the, law.
8th and 14th Amendments.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to scratch my head and say, what is going on?
And I do the same, and sometimes behind the scenes, just to make sure that everyone's on the same page and understanding what they're advancing, with eyes wide open at least, and then on the floor and debating questions, I do the same, Katie. The Supreme Court well settled in 1976 in Woodson versus State. It's having mandatory death penalty is a violation of the 8th Amendment, and then 87 found 14th Amendment and due process violations. And here's the thing. You're a former state prosecutor. I'm a former state prosecutor from the same office. I'm not opposed to the death penalty. What I'm opposed to is walking right in for the sake of just messaging something that's a bunch of hot air that really does nothing other than just sort of feed a base or an idea when it's actually untenable if it's challenged.
And again, it's a part of a pair of bills that DeSantis signed into law that are incredibly aggressive, including, I read, that now the Florida Highway Patrol, a state agency, is partnering with ICE to be able to make traffic stops and to be able to effectuate more of these arrests. I mean, these all scream pretextual stops. These all scream like these are going to be some serious constitutional violations that we're going to be seeing coming down the pathway.
I take a slightly different view, only because it's consistent with messaging only, and really, where's the teeth in application? The reason why I say that, the MOA that was signed between FHP and ICE a couple weeks ago is actually like, the 47th or 48th that we have in the state. They're under a 287G. It's a subsection in federal statute, and it allows the volunteering participation of county facilities that have jails and also a warrant service kind of idea joining in and lending support. What was signed in that agreement did not require legislative participation and sort of loudly demonstrated that that could be done. Will you cooperate? Will you participate? Will you help us out? The federal government will reimburse you for expenses for either housing people or training and so forth. So really hasn't changed anything. The pair of bills that came out, one is constitutionally infirm from the beginning, and the first, the larger bill, has 1,268 lines talking tough on combating illegal immigration from a criminal perspective, but 17 lines go after the in-state tuition waiver that was given to kids in Florida that we've had since infancy until through 12th grade in the public school system, and now enjoy an in-state tuition waiver in our colleges and universities, a rather de minimis amount when compared to the stunts and political theater that DeSantis displayed by flying people to Martha's Vineyard or paying for flights to Sacramento. So, it doesn't do that much.
So why, though, do Florida Republicans find the need, though, because I will say there was some pushback to Ron DeSantis in the latest kind of round of talks with the governor. But why do Florida Republicans feel the need to be able to do what I think is just performative theater then? If you're telling me that you have a constitutionally infirm bill that's now going to have to go through, again, an expense to have legal challenges, and now we see Ron DeSantis' own wife, Casey DeSantis, who was touted as perhaps the next possible governor for the state of Florida, we now see Donald Trump throwing his weight behind Byron Donalds. So when is enough, I guess, maybe humiliation for Florida Republicans?
So there's a lot of infighting, and it sort of poured out into the public over the last few weeks amongst Republicans, but really between the executive branch and the legislative branch. And I guess that Band-Aid being ripped off, hurt a little bit more. But really what it was is just restoring parity, getting back to a checks and balance system of co-equal branches of government. It's just for so long, and leading up to DeSantis' ambitions to run nationally, whatever the playbook was, my Republican colleagues just went along with a bunch of things, from woke and CRT and book banning and all of and transgender high school athletes. None of these things that actually affect the checklist of family priorities. But now, what Trump did by sort of endorsing Byron Donalds, really what he did was he turned a spigot off on DeSantis being able to fundraise. That's really what it is. That DeSantis, loves to fundraise, loves the grift. And so that's really sort of a placeholder. I don't know how much Trump's really going to get behind Byron Donalds in the future, to be honest with you. But really what it did was, with all the chatter about Casey possibly running, it allowed the floodgates to open. It was concurrent with an announcement that he's opening his PAC once again to raise money to really install conservative values and conservative candidates in 2026 in Florida. And when Trump comes out and says, go Byron, go, that turns the fundraising faucet off. And Susie Wiles, the chief of staff for Trump, knows that all too well. One of the rubs she had with DeSantis early on when he was starting out was how much he wanted to immediately monetize his position. X thousands of dollars for dinner, X thousands of dollars to go play golf with the governor, et cetera. So that's it's rather nuanced, but for us sort of insiders at the Capitol in Tallahassee, they turn the fundraising spigot off.
But it also, like I said, maybe forecloses now the opportunity for Matt Gaetz to run.
I would love for Matt Gaetz to run. But I think if Matt feels, he's not shy, if Matt feels sort of alienated for all of the loyalty and they feel sort of rather rejected from it, perhaps he does pop in and become a spoiler.
So what ends up happening, though, to Florida moving forward when you have the kind of collateral damage from DeSantis and you have the possibility of somebody like Byron Donalds, who really is a super Trump supporter, super MAGA supporter?
Yeah, but not much else besides that.
Well, I was going to say there's no other meat on that bone. No. So what happens to Florida with that being a prospect? Who on the Democratic side, Senator Pizzo, steps up to the challenge?
So we have to go to where their voters are. We have to go and instead of sort of fighting and pushing back. I'm the minority leader of the Senate Democratic Caucus right now in the third largest state in the country of the upper chamber. And what I've implored my caucus members to understand, appreciate, and please follow, don't take the bait. They're only as successful in getting traction on some crazy ideas and some nonsensical ideas and rather inefficient and expensive ideas if we take the bait. What are we offering? My mother made it very clear to me before I ran for office. She goes, don't go a day without knowing what it costs for a dozen eggs, a gallon of milk, and a gallon of gas. And today in the state of Florida, you're out of pocket $15.50 just to get the dozen eggs, the gallon of milk, and the gallon of gas. And minimum wage is $13. What are the Democrats offering? It's high time that we be less concerned about being so progressive and so loud and being afraid of some of those sort of on the left, just as the right has been, as you're demonstrating. My Republican colleagues have been held under the thumb of the whims and wishes of the governor for the past 7 years. And now they're breaking out and finally sort of clawing back some autonomy, which is great. It's healthy. It's a democracy. So Democrats kind of stop just sort of complaining and criticizing and pointing fingers. What are we offering? And you'll see this upcoming session that might not be so sexy, but I want to focus on infrastructure. I want to focus on small businesses. I want to focus on allowing the president of the Senate, who's from a rural agricultural community, to express his passion and his beliefs, but also recognize that the high-density areas that I live in, where my constituents are, flush their toilets into 70-year-old broken clay pipes still to this day. That they have 200,000 septic tanks between where we are right now and where I live. It's crazy. So let's focus on those things. None of these things we've been doing for 7 years, Katie, have lowered your auto insurance rates, your home insurance rates, or established, as you and I are primarily concerned with the future of our children, have done nothing to leave them a better place than we found it.
Well, we're going to have to see whether there's an equal response of, I guess, just normalcy back to regulating and getting a balance, I think, in the universe over there. State Senator Jason Pizzo, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks,
I appreciate
Katie.
it.
Thank you.